Hello dear students, this is my fifth lecture, fifth and last lecture on Oedipus the King. So far I have already discussed about the text, about various issues we find in the text. I have also discussed and analyzed the text, the story in particular. Now I'm going to, in my last lecture, I'm going to analyze the characters, almost all the characters we find in the play. I hope this will help you for your exam oriented preparation. Um, so let's start with once again King Lear, the protagonist in the play. Now there is almost nothing left to say about King Oedipus, I believe. But only one aspect that is left, and I thought it important, so I will discuss on that issue, and that is about the Hamashia, the point of Hamashia in Oedipus, in the character King Oedipus. Okay, so as you know, what Hamashia is from your studies about studies of poetics. You have already, I hope, known about Hamashia. Hamashia is the mistake in judgment, or also otherwise called to be said to be the error of judgment, error in judgment. So this is what is Hamashia. Now Hamashia basically arises out of hubris. I have been talking about arrogance of Oedipus, and this is what is actually hubris. Hubris is also otherwise known as pride. So it is the arrogance, it is the pride that channelizes or propels the tragic hero to commit the Hamashia, or the error in judgment. So in Oedipus the King, this in this drama, you will see, in fact, the Hamashia is there in the character of Oedipus the King, for a number of, it comes for a number of times. It's not a single time that it appears in the character, but for a number of time within the text and also without the text. That means what happened in the life of Oedipus previously, before the drama commences. There were also a number of Hamashia in the character, and there are also a number of Hamashia in Oedipus the King in the play, in the span of the play. Now I will just exemplify them one after another, the points where in fact Oedipus committed his mistakes, right? Now the first exhibition of his Hamashia was, or error in judgment, was in his maltreatment or mistreatment of the with the character Tiresias. Now Tiresias, he was in fact the oldest of all the characters in the play. He was a prophet, he was a seer, and still the way the indignant arrogancy with which Oedipus talks to this fellow and treats this fellow, this man, this prophet, is really his Hamashia, is and must be counted as his Hamashia. You know, when Oedipus, in fact, when Tiresias refuses to speak the truth about who killed King Laius, then Oedipus gets really very indignant. He's infuriated with much rage. Okay, and he says, quote unquote, I will quote, "I did not know what nonsense you would speak, or I would hardly have sent for you." But Tiresias, we know that he was no nonsense a person. He was speaking nothing nonsense. So this is in fact the dramatic irony we find in the play, that Tiresias is gifted with the knowledge of everything, and on the contrary, Oedipus is gifted with, if it is gift, if at all a gift, he is gifted with ignorance. Now, um, in his subsequent treatment with all other characters, including Crayon and Jocasta, and even the shepherd who saved this man's life, Oedipus's life. Okay, he is very much arrogant. He is very much full of pride in his treatment of these characters, and these are all to be treated as his Hamashia. So with Crayon, what he in fact when he confronts Crayon, Crayon asks, in these lines, what do you want, to cast me from this land? And to which Oedipus replies, hardly. That means, no, I'm not going to do that. Hardly. Okay, I want you to die, not flee. Hardly. I want you to die, not flee. So this is also an arrogance, a show of arrogance. Now, he is also, in fact, notably mistreating his own wife Jocasta. Okay, and here, of course, it engenders a feminist rage against Oedipus, or say Sophocles, when he mistreats Jocasta. Uh, Jocasta tries in a number of ways to prohibit, or to in fact stop Oedipus from his pursuit, from his persistent pursuit after the truth. In these lines, Jocasta says, quote starts, no, by the gods, if indeed you care for your own life, do not go after this. I grieve enough, obey me, I pray, do not do this. What I say is best, unquote. So here Jocasta is sounding the warning words that because Jocasta has already, as I said in my previous lectures, he has been acquiring some premonitions about the real identity of Oedipus, and what might happen once these her fears really come to be true. Okay, but Oedipus, in against her warning words, he says that, quote, I cannot be persuaded not to learn this clearly. What you say is best has long annoyed me. So Jocasta has been a source of annoyance to Oedipus. That is what perhaps Oedipus suggesting, right? So this is how, in fact, he is also maltreating or mistreating Jocasta. Now, next, in the next example I will put in is in Oedipus's encounter with the shepherd who had saved his life. Basically, how? Because this was the shepherd who was entrusted with the very responsibility of disposing the baby Oedipus on the Mount Cithæron, to be actually to die over there. But this shepherd had felt pity for this boy, and he gave it to a messenger, the messenger who also appears in this drama. So this shepherd had saved his life, but once this shepherd, he was of course a old man, and Oedipus's treatment of this old man should have been very generous, should have been very mild, should have been should have been with honor, right? But no, Oedipus in fact threatens him to kill when the shepherd denied to reveal the identity of the murderer. So because I mean not the murderer, the identity of Oedipus. So Oedipus says that, you are dead if I have to ask it again. You are dead if I have to ask it again. So this is how he is mistreating all the characters, and this is how he is in fact exhibiting his own points of Hamashia. As I put it, as I said that there is not a single Hamashia on the part of Oedipus, but a number of Hamashia which cumulatively actually work hand in hand to bring about the misfortunes of Oedipus, or the final fate of Oedipus. So these are what the examples I have given you from within the text. But what happened outside the text before before the incidents explicated in the text? Okay, there were a number of other incidents where we find that Oedipus had exhibited a number of other Hamashias. Say, for example, when he had already come to know about the prophecy that he was going to kill his father, he should not have murdered or killed anyone older than him or senior to him. He should have refrained from that, because of course it could happen that he was misguided about the parentage, but he was quite sanguine and that there lies his arrogancy, there lies his pride. He was sanguine that he, leaving Corinth, he has left his parents over there, because he believed that king of Corinth was his father and queen of Corinth was his mother. But things might turn out alternatively. This simple logic could not be understood by Tyrus or by Oedipus. Secondly, the second part of the prophecy was that he will marry his mother. So, in order to avoid the prophecy anyhow, this way that way, he should not have married anyone older than him. He should have chosen a lady or a woman who was younger to him, shouldn't it? Should not He should have done it so in that way. So Hamashia are abound in the character of Oedipus, and this is once again a claim that Oedipus was basically not a character to have been, in fact, ruled by fate, but he was also equally ruled by his own free will, choice of free action of his own. So that is the end of the analysis of the character Oedipus. And now I will talk about, secondly, I will talk about Jocasta. Now, if Oedipus is the tragic hero in the play, then should we call Jocasta a tragic heroine in the play? Perhaps we should call her a tragic heroine, because you see, Jocasta, she was married to, first of all, she was married to King Laius, and on the very day of marriage, King Laius had the prophecy. He heard the prophecy that the son who is going to be born out of their conjugal from their conjugal life, that son is going to kill Oedipus and going to marry his mother Jocasta. So King Laius, he refrained from making love to Jocasta. So it was in fact a violation of rights of love, or you say the very rights of the marriage, isn't it? Because King Laius refused to meet her, refused to mate with her, and to make love with Jocasta. Secondly, Jocasta, how do we recognize her? She is the wife. She was the wife of Laius, and then she was the wife of Oedipus, and again she was also the mother of Oedipus. So when the play begins, she no longer believes in the prophecies of seers, because things have happened in her life in such a disordered manner, that she has no belief in the prophecies any longer. First of all, because this is, of course, a jubilant side of her character, that she believes that she has avoided the prophecy, but she had no idea that whom she has married is none other than her own son. So that is how, as she did not believe in prophecies any longer, so she also tried to convince Oedipus in her own way, but she was not heard. Oedipus ignored her, isn't it? So, as more evidence points out towards the probability that Oedipus has in fact fulfilled the terrible prophecy, she begs him not to dig any further into his past. But as I told, Oedipus did not listen to her. Now, the third character I will talk about is Crayon. Crayon's character in the play has two definite sides, which we must point out. Okay, number one, that he was more political than Oedipus and more schematic than Oedipus. And the second side of his character is that, though previously he was quite vociferous about his unwillingness to occupy the throne of the king of Thebes, But later on, we see that he was more willing than ever to gain the throne of the Thebes, king of Thebes. Now, Crayon, he has been very much schematic and very much cool and calm a character. In his during the confrontation with Oedipus, when Oedipus was in fact infuriated with very much with rage, Creon was keeping his cool. He was in fact in a persistent way trying to convince Oedipus that he is not in fact scheming against him, or he is not plotting against him to thwart him. But Oedipus again, of course, misbehaved as usual with he did with other characters, so he also misbehaved with Creon. Even Creon was threatened to be murdered. Somehow Jocasta and the chorus also, they persuaded Oedipus not to kill him, not to murder him. So that is all about Creon. The fourth character I will talk about is Tiresias. Now, I have already mentioned about Tiresias so many things. Here, especially, I will talk about the myth that is associated with Tiresias. Tiresias, he was a prophet, but how was he a prophet, or how was he made a prophet? He was first, in fact, he is also a mythical figure. Basically, he appears, he features in Ovid's Metamorphoses as well. So, as a mythical figure, the myth associated with him is such that he was born a man, and then he saw the copulation of two snakes, and these serpents, snakes or serpents, these two serpents, they cursed him, and by the end of this curse, Tiresias turned into a woman. Okay, after 16 years perhaps, or 8 years, Tiresias once again saw two serpents copulating, and these two serpents again cursed him and he turned once again from a woman into a man. So Tiresias, as a man, he lived both a life of a man and as well as a woman. Now, one day it happened that Jupiter and Juno, husband wife, they were god and goddess. They were fighting over the issue, over the question, who enjoys sex most, a man or a woman. Now, Jupiter was with the answer that, of course, a woman enjoys sex more than a man. But Juno, she was giving her counter argument that no, it is man who enjoys sex most. So, who could testify to this and bring a solution to this question? Who enjoys sex most, a male or a female? Then Tiresias was called upon by Jupiter. Now Juno asked him, who enjoys sex most? Tell it clearly. And Tiresias, having experiences of both lives of a man as well as of a woman, he answered that, of course, it is a woman who enjoys sex most. This infuriated Juno. Okay, Juno was enraged, and Juno cursed him with blindness. So he was blind. He turned into a blind. This story is there in Ovid's Metamorphoses. And then what happened? Tiresias started crying in front of Jupiter and begged for mercy. But what could Jupiter do when Juno has cursed him? So Jupiter gifted him with the visionary capacity to see the past, present, as well as future. So though he was blind, he had no functional eyes, but he had a functional third eye in his mind, which was operative, and which could see all the three times, past, present, and future. So this is the myth about Tiresias. Now, in this play, Tiresias is the oldest character in the play, and he is mistreated, as I had mentioned just some time ago, mistreated, maltreated by Oedipus, and this is one of Oedipus's Hamashia, of course. So that's all about Tiresias. And now you know about chorus. The role of chorus in the play is nothing very special about it. Only the innovation that Sophocles had brought in about the chorus is raising the number from 12 to 12 members to 15 members. Okay, and chorus, what is the function of the chorus in the play? Chorus usually he interprets the scene that happened previously, and he also in fact introduces the scene that is going to happen next. So that is the main function of the chorus, and it is performed by chorus in the play as usual in a Greek tragedy. Now two characters more are there. One is the messenger and another is the shepherd. I have already talked about the shepherd. This shepherd was the same shepherd who was entrusted with the baby Oedipus to dispose him on the Mount Citharon to die, but out of pity he gave it to the messenger. The messenger then he passed the boy over to the king of Corinth and the queen of Corinth. They were they were in fact issueless. So he was brought up in the at the palace of the king of Corinth. Okay, and Oedipus never came to know actually that they were not his parents. So this shepherd and messenger, though they are very much in fact minor characters, still they are very much crucial characters, and their function in the play is more objective than subjective. So that's all about the character analysis of all the characters in the play, and I hope you have by this time read the text, and you have followed my lectures well, and I hope you understood all the lectures properly. In this video lecture there is of course no provision to for you to ask me any questions, so I beg for your pardon if there has been anything that you could not understand. There is no chance that I can explain to you directly, so I would rather ask you to in fact get in touch with your respective teachers, who will, I hope they will clear your doubts. And there is one another way out, however. I have a YouTube channel. You can go and search in YouTube with my name and Oedipus, by writing Oedipus the King by Shamim Reza. So I hope and there my video will appear on your screen. So going there, you click on the video, and then you can write your query if you have any. Then I will answer your queries, your questions directly on the thread. Okay, so that is one way to communicate me. I hope that will help you, of course. So thank you very much. I hope to send you more and more video lectures in the near future. Thank you.